Peace people, welcome back to the channel. So I've done a couple of videos on beta sororities now, how to set them up, keeping sororities, some tips on how to do it properly. But I really haven't ever talked about if you already got an established sorority and say a couple of your fish die, or you just want to add a couple more in. Well, how do you safely do that? That's what we're going to be talking about, how you can safely add new girls to your beta sorority. But before we get into the video, please do remember, if you have not already, to click that little red subscribe button down there below me. It helps me out a ton if you do that. So without further ado, let's get into the topic of adding new fish to a beta sorority. Now, first, what I think we have to remember is these are still beta fish. While they're not as aggressive as their male counterparts, your female betas do still have the same aggressive impulses and tendencies that the males do. You just don't show it and flare up at you putting your finger up at the tank. They're going to be a little more calm and relaxed. It's going to be more territorial or establishing a hierarchy thing that's going to cause them to be aggressive, versus the males, which the second they see each other, they're flaring up, going at one another. So that's the first thing we have to realize when we're talking about adding new fish into your sorority, is that they still have that aggressive side to them. You have to worry about that. So one of the things that you're going to want to do, if you've got an established sorority and you want to add 2 or 3 or however many new girls to your tank, either through die-off or you think more would help equalize aggression, you're going to want to take all your girls out of the tank. Take all the fish out of the tank, put them in some type of receptacle that can hold water. Either you can put them separately or you can put them in a big tote or something all together, but you want to get them all out of your tank for a little while. That's going to help when you go to add fish back in. Everybody's got a vie for area again, which is going to lead us in to the second tip. Once all your girls are out, rescape your whole tank. Now I know if you've got a beautifully scaped tank, the last thing you want to do is rescape the whole thing, take all the driftwood out, move your rocks, move your decor, move everything around, move your plants, all that stuff. But think about it. Your females are territorial. If Beta A has claimed the rock in the far right back corner of the tank, and you add Beta Q in to the new tank while they're all still in there and you haven't moved anything, the second Beta Q goes near Beta A's rock, Beta A is going to go at them and attack them because they're territorial fish. So by removing all your girls out, it allows you to rescape the tank without them automatically claiming new spots. I know it sounds daunting, but it's one of the best tips. Rescape, look at it as a newscape project. A couple of the plants were looking a little meh. You weren't always happy with where you put that one rock or how this piece of wood was leaning. So you get to rescape the whole thing, and you have a valid reason to do so, because you've already taken all the girls out when you're going to be adding new ones. Again, that's going to avoid all the territorial nonsense that you're dealing with. Number 3, when you're picking out your new fish, try and get fish that are the same size as the girls you already have. If you go and get a bunch of baby girls that are only 1.5 inches and you're throwing them in a tank with girls that are 2.5, 3 inches long, those big alpha girls are going to beat up on your new ones, and you're going to be out buying new fish. So for the safety of both your current girls and your new girls, and also your wallet, you're going to look and try and get girls that are roughly the same size. When I say roughly, I'm talking like within 1/4 inch of each other. They're going to be hopefully around the same age as well. When you go to scape your tank, try your best not to put things in exactly the same spot, but try and move things around from where you have them. So instead of putting the rock in the exact same spot, move it someplace else. Also, make sure you're creating enough hidey holes and breaks in line of sight with the new scape so the girls can get away from each other if there's any type of aggression. You don't want super big areas that are just wide open without breaks in the line of sight. But that's a regular sorority tip anyway. I'm just reminding you that when you're rescaping, make sure you got those breaks in line of sight. Make sure you're building enough hidey holes so all the girls can claim something as their own. Because if you had, say, 7 girls in your tank and you had only like 7 places where they could claim and hide, if you add 3 more fish in there, you need to give those 3 new fish someplace to hide as well, whether that's a floating beta log or just getting a couple small cichlid caves or something that you can throw throughout the tank that they can claim as their special spot in your tank. Moving along, tip number 5, when you go to add the new fish, first of all, leave the light off. Just like when you add new fish to any tank, it's always helpful, leave the light off. Add the new fish, I would say a minute prior to your old fish. Let the new girls calm down in the tank for about a minute, and then go ahead and add all your other girls together. That way the new fish can get calm a little bit before you introduce the other girls. And again, observation is the best tip with sororities. Keep an eye on the new girls. Look for signs of stress. Look for signs of injury from being picked on. You might have to do this process a couple times where you're rescaping the tank multiple times, everybody out and re-adding them, finding your problem female, and dealing with her accordingly, whether that's putting her in her own tank or isolating her in a net or something in the tank, giving her a time out. You're just going to have to keep an eye on the fish, especially when you're adding the new ones, to make sure they reestablish some type of hierarchy chain to where they're not constantly attacking each other. The rescaping of the tank and the pulling of all the old fish and reintroducing them is definitely going to help with those issues, but there can still be times where you might get one of your former alpha females getting a little antsy that things are different, and she might just start going at other fish. So just make sure you keep an eye on everybody and make sure things are okay in the tank. And again, if you notice signs of aggression or anything like that, watch the tank like a hawk. If you see the aggression, isolate that one female, get the idea of which one she is, pull her out of the tank, give her a little time by herself. Hopefully you got a backup plan. Best thing with beta sororities is to have backup plans. If you got 12 girls in those tanks, I would say have 12 small tanks on standby, because you might have 12 girls just don't go together, or one girl doesn't mingle. And the second you pull her out, it completely changes the dynamic. So I work in a school. You'd be amazed at just by what happens when you pull out one kid from the class on a day when they're not there. If a kid is absent and it's one of your kids that's usually a troublemaker, they're gone for a day, the whole class is completely different. They'll be on their best behavior. There's no talking, there's no fighting, there's no picking on each other, there's no nothing. The next day, if that kid's back, things go right back to the way they were. So it's strange to think that just one fish or one person can make that big of an impact on a group, but it's 100% a reality. So keep an eye on all your girls. If you find one that's a troublemaker, pull her out. Observe the tank more. See what's going on. If that one fish was the issue, and now the rest of your girls are getting along, that's perfect. So I hope these tips help you if you're planning on adding more fish to your beta sorority, or really if you're planning on adding more fish to other tanks with aggressive fish too. So remember, pull your fish out, rescape the tank, add all the fish around the same time, new fish right before. Keep the lights off, that's going to help de-stress the fish. And hopefully all things goes well, but just keep an eye on everybody, and hopefully it works out for you. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did, and a comment down below. What's your success rate been with sororities and adding new fish to them? Let me know, and I'll see you guys later.